Thousands of years ago, in the middle of a vast desert, a powerful civilization began to rise. It grew beside a great river. It built wonders that still stand today, created knowledge that still inspires the world. That civilization was Egypt. Welcome back to my channel, Learning English Level 3. Today we are exploring the inspiring history of Egypt. In this video, you will learn how a simple river helped build a mighty nation. You will discover how farmers became builders, how leaders guided their people, and how knowledge helped Egypt shine for thousands of years. This story is full of lessons about hard work, unity, confidence, and strong dreams. This video will also help you improve your English listening skills. As you listen carefully, you will learn new words and better pronunciation. Step by step, your English will grow stronger. So stay with me until the end, because this journey through Egypt's history will not only teach you about the past, but also motivate you to build your own future. Before we begin, please subscribe to my channel. Your support helps me create more videos for you. Now, let's begin our journey into the powerful and inspiring story of Egypt. The Nile River, the heart of Egypt. Long ago, before there were cities, roads, or tall buildings, there was a great river flowing through a wide desert. This river was the Nile. It became the heart of Egypt. Without the Nile, Egypt would not exist. The land around Egypt was dry and hot. There was sand almost everywhere. Farming was very hard in the desert. People needed water to live. They needed water to grow food. The Nile River gave them this gift. Every year, the Nile flooded its banks. First, this may sound scary. But the flood was not a disaster. It was a blessing. When the water went down, it left behind rich, dark soil. This soil was perfect for growing crops. The people planted wheat, barley, and vegetables. They grew food for their families. They even had extra food to trade. Because of the Nile, people did not have to move from place to place. They could stay in one area. They built homes from mud bricks. They created small villages near the river. Over time, these villages grew into towns. Then the towns became great cities. The Nile was also a natural road. In ancient times, there were no cars or trains. The river helped people travel easily. They used boats made of wood and reeds. They sailed north with the current. They sailed south using the wind. The Nile connected different parts of Egypt, helped people share ideas, goods, and culture. The river gave more than water and food. Gave fish to eat. Gave papyrus plants. Papyrus was very important. People used it to make paper, baskets, ropes, and even boats. The Nile truly supported every part of life. The ancient Egyptians respected the Nile deeply. They believed it was a gift from the gods. They even had a god of the Nile named Hapi. They thanked the river for its kindness. They understood that their lives depended on it. Farmers worked hard along the river banks. They learned when to plant and when to harvest. They created simple tools to help them. They dug canals to move water to their fields. This shows us something powerful. The Nile gave them opportunity, but they had to work hard to use it. The river also brought people together. Families worked side by side. Communities helped each other during planting and harvesting. This teamwork made Egypt strong. Even today, the Nile is still the heart of Egypt. Millions of people live along its banks. Cities like Cairo stand beside it. Farmers still use its water. Boats still sail on it. The river continues to give life. The story of the Nile teaches us an important lesson. Sometimes life gives us a gift, but we must use it wisely. The ancient Egyptians did not waste their opportunity. They worked hard. They planned carefully. They built a great civilization. Just like the Nile helped Egypt grow, you also have something special inside you. If you use it with effort and patience, you can grow and succeed. The Nile shows us that even in the middle of a desert, life can rise, grow, and shine. The first farmers and builders. Long ago, when the Nile River gave life to the land, small groups of people began to settle near its banks. These people were the first farmers and builders of Egypt. They did not have big cities. They did not have machines. But they had strong hands, smart minds, and big dreams. First, life was simple. Families lived in small homes made of mud and straw. They built their houses close to the river. The mud from the Nile was soft and easy to shape. When it dried under the hot sun, it became hard and strong. This was how they made bricks. With these bricks, they built safe places to sleep and store food. Farming was their main work. Every year, when the Nile flooded and left rich soil behind, they prepared the land. They used simple tools made of wood and stone. They planted wheat and barley. They also grew onions, beans, and lettuce. Farming was not easy. It required patience. It required teamwork. But the farmers did not give up. They woke up early in the morning. They worked under the bright moon. They learned to understand the seasons. They watched the river carefully. They knew when it was time to plant and when it was time to harvest. Slowly, they became experts at using nature to help them. Because they had extra food, they could trade with others. Trade helped their villages grow. Some people became potters. They made jars to store grain and water. Others became carpenters. They made tools and boats. Some learned to weave cloth from plant fibers. Skills began to grow in every village. As the villages became larger, people needed order and rules. Leaders began to appear. These leaders helped organize farming, building, and trade. They solved problems and made decisions. This was the beginning of a more organized society. The builders of early Egypt were creative. They did not only build homes. They built storage rooms for grain. They built small temples to honor their gods. They learned how to plan their villages carefully. Streets were created. Areas were set aside for farming and living. One of the most amazing things about these early people was their spirit. They did not have modern tools. They did not have advanced technology. But they had determination. They believed in creating a better life for their children. The first farmers and builders laid the foundation of Egypt's greatness. Without them, there would be no pyramids. There would be no great cities. They were the quiet heroes of history. Their story teaches us something powerful. Big success often starts small. A strong nation began with simple farmers planting seeds in the soil. Great buildings began with small mud bricks shaped by hand. Just like those early Egyptians, you may start small. You may begin with simple tools and simple ideas. But with hard work, patience, and belief, you can build something strong and lasting. The first farmers and builders of Egypt remind us that every great dream begins with one small step and the courage to keep going. The rise of the pharaohs. As villages grew into towns, and towns grew into cities, Egypt needed strong leadership. The people needed someone to guide them. They needed someone to organize farming, building, and trade. This is how the pharaohs rose to power. Pharaoh was not just a king. The people believed the pharaoh was chosen by the gods. They believed he was a bridge between heaven and earth. This made the pharaoh very special. But it also gave him great responsibility. One of the first great pharaohs united Upper and Lower Egypt into one kingdom. This was an important moment in history. Instead of small areas being divided, Egypt became one strong nation. Unity made the country more organized and powerful. The pharaoh wore a special crown to show this unity. Sometimes he wore a white crown. Sometimes he wore a red crown. And sometimes he wore both together. This showed that he ruled all of Egypt. Pharaohs did many important jobs. They made laws. They made sure crops were collected and stored. They planned building projects. They helped keep balance and order in the land. The ancient Egyptians believed in a concept called Ma'at. Ma'at meant truth, balance, and harmony. The pharaoh's duty was to protect Ma'at and keep peace in society. Pharaohs also led great building projects. They ordered the construction of temples, statues, and monuments. These buildings were not only beautiful. They showed the strength and skill of the Egyptian people. Workers, artists, and builders came together to create amazing structures. Some pharaohs became famous for their wisdom and vision. Pharaoh Djoser built one of the first large stone structures, the Step Pyramid. Pharaoh Khufu ordered the building of the Great Pyramid of Giza. These projects required careful planning. They required teamwork. They required belief in something greater than oneself. The pharaoh's palace was often grand, but his work was serious. He had advisors, scribes, and officials who helped him manage the kingdom. Scribes were very important. They could read and write. They kept records of food, trade, and laws. Education became valuable in Egyptian society. The rise of the pharaohs also brought art and culture to life. Beautiful paintings covered temple walls. Statues were carved with great detail. Music and celebrations became part of daily life. Egypt began to shine as a center of culture and creativity. But being a pharaoh was not easy. The role required wisdom, patience, and strong decision-making. A good pharaoh listened to his people. He thought about the future. He planned for many years ahead. The story of the pharaohs teaches us something important. Leadership is not only about power. It is about responsibility. It is about caring for others. It is about building something that lasts beyond your own lifetime. The rise of the pharaohs shows us that strong leadership can shape history. When leaders have vision and purpose, a nation can grow and succeed. Just like the pharaohs worked to protect and guide their people, you can also become a leader in your own life. You can lead with honesty. You can lead with hard work. And step by step you can build your own kingdom of success. The Great Pyramids of Giza. Imagine standing in a wide desert. The sun is bright. The sky is clear. In front of you, 3 giant pyramids rise into the air. They are tall. They are strong. They have stood for more than 4,500 years. These are the Great Pyramids of Giza. The pyramids are one of the most amazing achievements in human history. They were built as tombs for pharaohs. The most famous one is the Great Pyramid. It was built for Pharaoh Khufu. For many years it was the tallest building in the world. But how did people build something so huge without modern machines? The answer is simple but powerful. Hard work, planning, teamwork. Thousands of workers helped build the pyramids. They were not slaves as many people think. Most were skilled workers and farmers. During the flooding season when farming stopped, they worked on the pyramids. They carried heavy stone blocks. Some blocks weighed as much as a car. It was not easy. Engineers and planners carefully measured everything. The pyramid had to be perfect. Each side had to be equal. Each stone had to fit closely with the others. Even today, experts are amazed by how exact the design is. Workers used simple tools made of copper and stone. They used wooden sleds to move heavy blocks across They worked together in teams. Each person had a role. Some cut stones. Some moved them. Some placed them in position. Teamwork made the impossible possible. The shape of the pyramid was also special. Pointed toward the sky. The ancient Egyptians believed the shape helped the pharaoh's soul rise to the heavens after death. The pyramid was not just a building. It was a symbol of hope and eternal life. Inside the pyramids, there were narrow passageways and hidden chambers. The pharaoh's body was placed deep inside, in a stone coffin. Treasures, jewelry, and valuable items were also placed inside. The Egyptians believed the pharaoh would need these in the afterlife. Near the pyramids stands another great wonder, the Great Sphinx. It has the body of a lion and the head of a human. It guards the pyramids silently. For thousands of years it has watched over the desert. The pyramids show us something powerful about human potential. The builders did not have advanced technology. They did not have cranes or trucks. But they had vision. They had discipline. They had belief. Building the pyramids took many years. It required patience. It required strong leadership. It required people who refused to give up. Day after day, stone after stone, they continued their work. Today, people from all over the world travel to Egypt to see the pyramids. They stand in front of them and feel small. But they also feel inspired. These giant structures remind us that humans can achieve great things. The Great Pyramids of Giza teach us a simple lesson. Big dreams take time. Big dreams require effort. You may not see results in one day. But if you keep working step by step, you can build something that lasts for generations. Just like the pyramid was built one stone at a time, your success is built one effort at a time. Keep building. Keep believing. And one day, your own pyramid of success will stand tall. Temples, art, and daily life. In ancient Egypt, life was not only about pyramids and kings. It was also about simple daily moments. It was about family, work, art, and faith. The people of Egypt lived full and meaningful lives. Temples were very important in Egyptian society. These were not just places of prayer. They were centers of community life. Large stone temples were built to honor the gods. The walls were covered with beautiful carvings and colorful paintings. These pictures told stories. They showed gods, pharaohs, and daily activities. When you walked into a temple, You would see tall columns shaped like plants. You would see statues standing proudly. The air might smell of incense. Priests worked inside the temples. They performed rituals every day. They offered food and prayers to the gods. The people believed this kept balance and harmony in the world. Art was everywhere in Egypt. Artists painted on walls, carved statues, and made jewelry. They followed special rules in their drawings. For example, people were often drawn with their heads turned to the side, but their bodies facing forward. This style may look strange to us, but it was important to them. Colors were bright and meaningful. Green showed life. Blue showed the sky and the Nile. Gold showed power and the sun. Artists did not just decorate. They told stories through their work. They recorded history. They showed love for their culture. Daily life in Egypt depended on social class. At the top was the pharaoh and his family. Below them were priests, scribes, and officials. Scribes were respected because they could read and write. Education was valuable. Writing was not easy to learn. Most people were farmers. They worked in the fields near the Nile. They planted crops and took care of animals. They lived simple but hard-working lives. Women also had important roles. They could own property. They could run businesses. Some even became leaders. Children helped their families from a young age. Boys often learned their father's job. Girls learned household skills from their mothers. But children also played games. They played with small dolls and carved toys. They enjoyed music and dancing. Clothing was simple because of the hot weather. Most people wore light linen clothes. Jewelry was popular. Both men and women wore necklaces, bracelets, and rings. They cared about cleanliness. They bathed often and used scented oils. Food was basic but healthy. Bread and beer were common. People also ate vegetables, fish, and sometimes meat. Families shared meals together. These simple moments brought happiness. The temples, art, and daily life of Egypt show us something beautiful. Great civilizations are not only built by kings. They are built by ordinary people, by farmers, by artists, by families. The Egyptians found beauty in simple things. They worked hard. They believed in balance. They respected tradition. Their story reminds us to value our daily lives, to take pride in our work, to express ourselves through creativity, and to build strong communities. Even in simple routines there is greatness. Even in small actions there is meaning. Ancient Egypt teaches us that a rich life is not only about power. It is about culture, family, faith, and the art we create every day. The secrets of mummies and the afterlife. The ancient Egyptians believed that life did not end with death. They believed it was only the beginning of a new journey. This strong belief shaped many parts of their culture. It shaped how they lived. It shaped how they prepared for the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that every person had a soul. They believed the soul would travel to another world after death. But for the soul to live happily, the body had to be protected. This is why they created mummies. Mummification was a careful and detailed process. It was not done in one day. It took about 70 days to complete. Special workers prepared the body with great respect. First they cleaned the body. Then they removed the organs carefully. These organs were placed in special jars called canopic jars. After that, The body was covered in a natural salt called natron. This salt helped dry the body and stop it from decaying. After many days, the body became dry and light. Then it was wrapped in long strips of linen cloth. Each layer was wrapped with care. Amulets were placed between the layers. These small objects were believed to give protection in the afterlife. Finally, the mummy was placed inside a decorated coffin. For pharaohs and rich people, the coffin was often made of gold and painted with bright colors. The face of the coffin was designed to look like the person inside. This helped the soul recognize its body. The Egyptians also believed in a special test after death. They believed the heart would be weighed against a feather. The feather stood for truth and goodness. If the heart was light and full of kindness, the person could enter a peaceful afterlife. This belief encouraged people to live honest and good lives. Tombs were filled with items the person might need in the next world. There were clothes, food, jewelry, and tools. For pharaohs, there were even furniture and treasures. The Egyptians believed life after death would be similar to life on earth. So they prepared carefully. The most famous mummy discovery was King Tutankhamun. His tomb was found almost untouched. Inside were golden treasures, beautiful masks, and many valuable objects. His golden mask became one of the most famous symbols of ancient Egypt. But mummification was not only for kings. Many ordinary people also tried to preserve their loved ones in simpler ways. This shows how strong their belief in the afterlife was. The story of mummies teaches us something powerful. The ancient Egyptians lived with purpose. They believed their actions mattered. They believed kindness and truth were important. They prepared not only for today but for the future. Their belief gave them hope, gave them comfort, gave them strength. Even today, when we look at mummies in museums, we see more than wrapped bodies. We see a message from the past, a message about faith, a message about respect for life. The secrets of mummies and the afterlife remind us to live with honesty and purpose, to care about our actions, to think about the future. Because in the end, what truly matters is the goodness we carry in our hearts. Egyptian writing and hieroglyphics. Long ago, in the land of Egypt, people found a special way to share their thoughts. They created a writing system called hieroglyphics. This was one of the first writing systems in the world. It helped Egypt grow strong and organized. Before writing, people had to remember everything. They had to remember stories, numbers, and laws in their minds. But as villages became cities, life became more complex. There was more trade. There were more rules. There were more people. Egypt needed a way to record information. Hieroglyphics were not simple letters like we use today. They were pictures and symbols. Some symbols looked like birds. Some looked like eyes. Some looked like water or the sun. Each symbol had a meaning. Some symbols stood for sounds. Others stood for whole words. Writing was not easy to learn. Took many years of practice. The people who learned to read and write were called scribes. Scribes were very respected in society. They worked in temples, palaces, and offices. They wrote laws, counted crops, and recorded trade. Scribes used special tools. They wrote on papyrus, which was made from a plant that grew near the Nile. First, they cut the plant into thin strips. Then they pressed the strips together to make a smooth surface. After it dried, it became like paper. They used ink made from natural materials. They wrote with thin reeds shaped like pens. Hieroglyphics were also carved into stone walls. If you visit Egypt today, you can still see these carvings on temples and tombs. The pictures tell stories about kings, daily life, and beliefs. The walls became books made of stone. For many years, people forgot how to read hieroglyphics. The meaning was lost. Then, in 1799, a stone was discovered in Egypt. It was called the Rosetta Stone. This stone had the same message written in 3 different scripts. One of them was hieroglyphics. Because scholars could read the other scripts, they were able to understand the ancient symbols. This discovery unlocked the secrets of Egyptian writing. Writing helped Egypt become organized and powerful. Farmers could record how much grain they grew. Leaders could write laws. Builders could plan projects. History could be saved for future generations. But writing was more than just record keeping. It was also art. The symbols were beautiful. They were carefully arranged. Writing was often colorful and detailed. It showed creativity and pride. The story of hieroglyphics teaches us something important. Knowledge is power. Education can change lives. The scribes of Egypt had opportunities because they learned to read and write. Today you are also learning. Every time you practice English, you are building your future. Just like the scribes, you are gaining a skill that can open doors. Egyptian writing reminds us that words are powerful. They can preserve history. They can share ideas. They can connect people across time. The symbols carved thousands of years ago still speak to us today. They remind us that learning never loses its value. When you learn, you leave your own mark on the world, just like the ancient scribes of Egypt. Amazing discoveries in science and math. Ancient Egypt was not only a land of pyramids and temples. It was also a land of smart thinkers. The Egyptians made amazing discoveries in science and math. Their knowledge helped them build, farm, and live better lives. Math was very important in Egypt. People needed math to measure land. Every year, the Nile River flooded. When the water went down, the land changed shape. Farmers had to measure their fields again. They used math to divide land fairly. They used numbers to count crops and plan storage. The builders of the pyramids also used math. They had to measure angles and lengths very carefully. If one side was even a little wrong, the pyramid would not stand correctly. Their understanding of shapes and space was impressive. Even today, experts study how exact their measurements were. The Egyptians used a number system based on symbols. They had symbols for 1, 10, 100, and even 1,000,000. They could add, subtract, multiply, and divide. They wrote math problems on papyrus. Some of these papers still exist today. They show that Egyptian students practiced solving problems, just like students today. Science was also important in daily life. The Egyptians studied the stars. They looked at the sky every night. They noticed patterns. They saw that certain stars appeared at certain times of the year. This helped them create a calendar. Their calendar had 365 days. It was based on the cycle of the sun and the Nile River. This helped farmers know when to plant and when to harvest. It helped the whole country stay organized. Imagine creating a calendar thousands of years ago without modern tools. that shows true intelligence. Medicine was another area where Egypt shined. Egyptian doctors were skilled and respected. They studied the human body. They learned how to treat wounds and broken bones. They used herbs and natural plants as medicine. Some of their medical writings still exist. These writings show that they understood many health problems. Cleanliness was also part of their science. The Egyptians believed in bathing often. They used oils and perfumes. They cared about hygiene. This helped keep people healthier. The ancient Egyptians did not separate science from daily life. For them, knowledge was practical. It was used to solve real problems. It was used to improve farming, building, and health. Their discoveries remind us of something important. Great achievements come from curiosity. The Egyptians asked questions. They observed nature. They looked at the stars. They studied the river. They learned from the world around them. They did not have computers or modern machines, but they had sharp minds. They believed in learning. They passed knowledge from one generation to the next. Today, when we study math or science, we continue this tradition. We build on the knowledge of the past. Every lesson you learn makes you stronger and smarter. The amazing discoveries in science and math show us that learning is powerful, can help us solve problems, can help us build great things, can help us understand the world. Just like ancient Egypt used knowledge to grow and succeed, you can use learning to build your future. Keep asking questions, keep studying, and never stop being curious. Queen Cleopatra and wise leadership. Among the many rulers of Egypt, one name still shines brightly today. That name is Cleopatra. She was not only a queen, she was a strong and intelligent leader. Her story is full of courage, learning, and confidence. Cleopatra was born into a royal family. She became queen at a young age. Being a leader was not easy. Egypt was a great and famous land, but it also faced many challenges. Cleopatra understood that she needed wisdom, not just power. One of the most amazing things about Cleopatra was her education. She was highly educated. She studied math, science, philosophy, and languages. It is said that she could speak many languages. This helped her communicate with different people. She did not depend only on translators. She spoke directly and clearly. Cleopatra cared deeply about Egypt. She worked hard to improve the country's economy. She supported trade. She made smart decisions to help Egypt stay strong and respected. She believed in planning for the future. She was also confident. Cleopatra understood the power of communication. She knew how to present herself as a strong and capable ruler. She dressed beautifully. She spoke wisely. She carried herself with grace. Her confidence made people respect her. Cleopatra valued knowledge. She supported learning and culture. The city of Alexandria, during her time, was a center of knowledge. It had one of the greatest libraries in the ancient world. Scholars from different lands came to study there. Ideas were shared. Discoveries were made. Cleopatra believed that education made a nation strong. She also cared about her people. A good leader listens. A good leader understands the needs of the nation. Cleopatra worked to keep Egypt stable and organized. She wanted her country to shine among other great nations. Even today, Cleopatra is remembered as one of the most famous women in history. Her life shows us that leadership is not about being loud or forceful. It is about being wise. It is about being prepared. It is about understanding people. Her story teaches an important lesson. Education gives confidence. Knowledge gives strength. When you learn and grow, you prepare yourself for leadership in your own life. Cleopatra also shows us that women can lead with power and intelligence. In a time when most rulers were men, she stood strong. She proved that ability matters more than anything else. Her name has traveled across centuries. Movies, books, and stories still talk about her. But beyond the stories, the real lesson is about leadership and learning. You do not need to be a queen or king to be a leader. You can lead in your school. You can lead in your family. You can lead in your future career. Leadership begins with self-discipline and knowledge. Cleopatra's life reminds us to believe in ourselves, to study hard, to speak with confidence, to think carefully before making decisions. True leadership is built on wisdom, courage, and education. Just like Cleopatra showed the world long ago, you too can shine brightly when you choose to learn, grow, and lead with confidence. Modern Egypt, a land of culture and pride. Egypt is not only a country of ancient history. It is also a living, growing nation today. Modern Egypt is a land of culture, pride, and strong spirit. The past is still present, but the country continues to move forward. Today, millions of people live along the Nile River, just like their ancestors did thousands of years ago. The river still gives life. Big cities like Cairo and Alexandria are full of energy. Streets are busy. Markets are colorful. People work hard every day to build better lives. Cairo, the capital city, is one of the largest cities in Africa. It is a place where old and new meet. You can see ancient mosques and modern buildings in the same area. You can hear the call to prayer and the sound of cars at the same time. This mix of history and modern life makes Egypt unique. Education is important in modern Egypt. Schools and universities help young people prepare for the future. Many students study science, medicine, engineering, and technology. They dream of creating new inventions and improving their country. Just like ancient scribes valued knowledge, modern students understand the power of learning. Tourism is also a big part of Egypt's life. Visitors from around the world come to see the pyramids, the Sphinx, and the temples of Luxor. They cruise along the Nile and explore museums filled with treasures. Tourism helps the economy grow. It also allows Egypt to share its rich culture with the world. Egyptian culture is full of music, art, and tradition. Traditional food like koshari and falafel is enjoyed by many families. Weddings and festivals are full of joy and celebration. Music and dance bring people together. These traditions connect modern Egyptians to their ancestors. Technology and business are growing too. New buildings, bridges, and roads are being built. Young entrepreneurs are starting companies. Many Egyptians use technology to connect with the world. Social media, online learning, and digital tools are part of daily life. But what makes modern Egypt truly special is its people. Egyptians are known for their warmth and hospitality. They welcome visitors with kindness. They value family and community. Families often gather for meals and celebrations. Respect for elders is strong. Unity is important. Modern Egypt also shows resilience. Over the years, the country has faced challenges. But the people continue to stand strong. They believe in their future. They work hard for progress and stability. This spirit of determination is part of Egypt's identity. The story of modern Egypt teaches us something powerful. A nation can honor its past while building its future. The pyramids still stand, but new dreams are rising too. Just like Egypt, you also have a past and a future. You can learn from history. You can respect your roots. But you must also move forward with hope and courage. Modern Egypt is a land of culture and pride. It shows us that greatness is not only in ancient stones. It is in the hearts of people who continue to dream, work, and grow every single day.